what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. LSU hired a new tight end coach yesterday, and it was not Steve Ensminger. So unfortunately,
I'm surprised Slinger didn't call all of us and be like, "Would you dummies shut up?"
But it is a tight end coach with play calling experience.
It is.
As Coach Slade Nagle was hired. Great name, by the way, Slade Nagle, football guy name for sure. He was the running back coach and coach of special teams at McNeese. Another coach with a dash of special teams experience.
Yep.
As we try to figure out exactly what they're going to do there.
He's going to be special teams coordinator, I believe.
Is he? Okay.
As well at LSU,
okay.
yeah.
And then he's been at Tulane for the last 8 years. 7 years he was a tight ends coach. Last year, he was the OC of a good Tulane offense under Willie Fritz and company. His father, John Nagle, was actually a 3-year letterman at LSU.
Because as I looked at his resume last night, he was coaching at LSU in 2009.
Yeah, I saw on the post they put that he was coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were on the squad in 2009.
And you look perplexed as well.
Do. I thought
what role was he coaching in 2009?
Special teams, I believe.
An assistant?
I mean, you were a war daddy. You were on punt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe
it could have been like a
tickling
quality
something. I mean, you know how it is, dude.
control.
There's a lot of people in that building, and I'm already not exactly the best at.
Right, so while you're looking at the picture, yeah, you're not.
I mean, no, I don't think I don't.
Born in Baton Rouge, as you mentioned, played at McNeese, started out at Northwestern State, comes to LSU, goes back to McNeese later on in his career, and then has been at Tulane since 2016. Every coach that they hired has a Louisiana tie.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. A lot of them with LSU, others from the state, recruited the state. Those things are important. Like we talked about all the talent that's in this state and what's, one of the things that makes this job attractive. But it's also you have to know how to navigate this state. You have to know how to recruit this state. Mm-hmm. You don't just walk into some of these places and get first dibs. Like, that's just not how it is. Like, these relationships are built. So bringing in people that already have those relationships, certainly Slade Nagle being in New Orleans since 2016, like, he has those already built. Blake Baker has those. Bo Davis has those. Corey Raymond certainly has those. Like, everybody that you brought in knows the state. That means they can hit the ground running.
Yeah.
That means that they can, because you still have, there's not a lot out there, but there's still a signing period in February. So if you want to add some players, remember, you can sign as many as you want now. You just got to stay under that 85 number. So you still can add people to your roster in February. They can come in the summertime. Maybe they can help you. But this staff has the ability to hit the ground running because they already know the ins and outs of Louisiana.
So, go ahead, Alondra.
No, think about what you just said, though, Jake. Like, not only does he have experience in Louisiana, he's born in Baton Rouge. He played in Lake Charles. He coached in Natchitoches. He came back to Baton Rouge to coach. He coached in New Orleans. This guy's been all over the state of Louisiana. Anytime you hire a guy, you're like, oh, he could focus on the New Orleans area. He could focus on North Louisiana. This guy's been there, done that all over the state. I think that's the most important part is where he's been.
You're adding another great football mind to the list. He did a very good job as the OC and play caller for Tulane this last year. And so now you have him, you have Cortez Hankton, you have Joe Sloan. Obviously, Frank Wilson has been in this game forever. Brad Davis as well has served as run game coordinator at different times in his career. Like, you have a staff, and that's not even getting a shadow staff and everything. But football is the ultimate team game. Game planning is collaborative. It doesn't take place in a vacuum with just one genius putting it all together and then going to the rest of the staff and being like, look, here's what I put together. No, it's a group effort. And now you have a group of minds that all have their own individual experiences and strengths they're going to be bringing to the table. So I think this is and look, we all know that Kelly put a lot of emphasis on the tight end position, and he coached tight ends alone at Tulane for 6 years as well, right? So he seems to kind of check every single box, and it's another seemingly shrewd hire for this LSU program, which has been on a run of shrewd hires here as of late.
So obviously it's the offseason, and you get excited, and you see the coaches that are put in front of you, and our expectation will go through the roof. We all know that, whatever. But just sitting here in January and seeing the coaches that you brought in and who they replaced, and if you're an LSU fan, how can you not be excited about that?
Yeah.
Now, we know what you're losing as well. We're not trying to pump sunshine into this segment here. You're losing a Heisman Trophy quarterback. You're losing 2 receivers that could have won the Biletnikoff. You're losing talent on the offensive side of the football, and that's what kept you in games, won you games a year ago. But you do have some nice pieces that are going to step in and fill in for those players, and we're excited about those pieces. But it was the defense that hindered you last year. That's the thing that kept you from being where you wanted to go. If you just had a bad defense and not a god-awful one, you probably would have been in the conversation to be in a playoff. Like, I really think that because of what your offense was.
Yeah.
And so you bring in, at every level, I think a better coach than left. We talked about it, right? Defensive backs last year and corners and safeties, and no disrespect to those guys, but we went out to practice and we were asking ourselves questions about what these defensive backs were learning. Are they on the same page, right? That's the conversations that we had. And so you get somebody in Corey Raymond that everybody here knows and everybody here respects, and he knows the program. He's been here for so long. And then the defensive line was also one of the position groups. And look, they had unfortunate, obviously, with Jimmy right before the season. He has a medical emergency. Those are things you can't obviously help.
Yeah.
But then that defensive line, they're lining up a yard and a half off the ball. They're getting stuck on blocks. They're not using their hands. You're like, who is teaching them this? Well, turns out nobody is what it feels like. And so you go get 2 coaches that a lot of people have in the upper echelon of defensive line coaches. And so the talent is going to be different. The names are going to be different. You have deficiencies, let's call it like it is, at the defensive line position, defensive tackle certainly, and in the back end. You still need to add people. But just the coaching and what we already know about these coaches makes you feel a lot better about what the situation is as you head into this offseason.
Yeah. I think that's the overall point too. I don't know how good LSU is going to be this year. We still have a lot more fat gathering that has to happen. We'll get reports as we get into summer and camp about how things are going. We didn't put him in I guess we did put him in the top 12 on here. I don't think they should be preseason top 12 personally. I think I'm in a little more of a prove it mode. But I do feel much more bullish about them than I did just a few weeks ago when it appeared that maybe you're going to run back Matt House and that staff for another year.
I mean, we truly thought they were.
Yeah.
Because it was getting down the road and you're like, huh?
Well, and that's again, credit to how close they play these things and some of the misinformation that I think they likely put out there as smokescreens, and some of the truth that just ended up being untrue, right? When things maybe were going to be the decision and then other things happened to make it become untenable, right? That bowl game did not help anything. I'd be very
No,
interested to see in a
My
alternate
God.
universe if you went out there and just shut down Tanner Mordecai and LSU dominates that game and it's not such a close run thing. Does the staff come back? Does House come back? I think there'll still be changes, but I don't know if Matt House will go. But so whatever. The point is, although I still need LSU to prove it, especially in week 1 against USC, 2 teams that have very, very similar themes to one another as they're going to be entering the season. I feel much better about their ability to prove it than I did just a few weeks ago. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.